So, I'm all by my lonesome right now. But here we go. It's the Alaboom. I've had to do this a few times where it's just me talking, and if it ends up just being me talking, and what have you, so be it. Obviously, if it's just me, it's not going to go on for very long. I'm just I couldn't just skip it, probably because I'm just ridiculous like that, and I couldn't just like uh just do nothing, basically because day before Thanksgiving. So I figured I'd just talk a little bit about that, and talk a little bit about um Dots pretzels. I got a bag. I haven't had any Dots pretzels in a while, so you know probably shouldn't eat. I'm gonna be on here, but uh, I saw a bag over at my local Menards, so I was like, oh, hey, I haven't had Dots pretzels in a while. And these are like sometimes, you ever notice this, like when you open up a bag, there will be uh like an extra, like the quality in the bag will just be different. And these are like, they seem like they've been overcooked. They're just more crispy than normal. Anyway, um, regardless, whoever's out there watching, thank you so much. Hopefully all of you. I know Barry isn't going to be here tonight because he had to go somewhere for Thanksgiving, which is what I assume is going to happen with a lot of these people. Like, right, but it doesn't explain why Matthew's not around, because Matthew's in Canada and Canadian Thanksgiving is like at a different time. But I don't know. Um, I've got standard Thanksgiving going on tomorrow. Um, Thanksgiving dinner with the in-laws, and gonna do that. That'll be fun. I enjoy my brother and sister-in-law a great deal. They're pretty funny. They got two great kids. And their kids are right around the same age as my kids as well, so it makes it for nice. And I get along with my in-laws, and my mom will be there too, for that matter. I should mention my mother will be there as well. Hey Kip, this is a good time. It's not really an ask me anything type of thing, but like I guess you guys could ask questions. I can answer those. Tonight's oh, because I'm like coughing on my pretzel that I just ate. Oh man. But gravy. This is great radio. Where's this thing? Excuse me. I My wife asked me if I was ever going to replace. I have a Note 8. My phone is like 5 or 6 years old, and it always like I always run into problems with it. Oh, I got a text message here. You know, of course, look at it and see what it is. Oh, yeah, my mom just actually texted when I said uh when I and she just, I beat her to it though. I before she was able to text me. Hi, Mom. I'll see you tomorrow for Thanksgiving dinner. Uh, what is the most useful DM resource? I could be really generic here, and say something along the lines of uh, plagiary. Um 90% of all good ideas, good story ideas, good who is texting me? Jeez. Oh, my mother again. Hi, I love you. Yes, Mom, I love you too. I'll see you tomorrow. Quit texting me. I'm trying to do this right now. I'm gonna have to turn this on, put this on vibrate, I guess. There we go. Uh what is the most useful DM resource, Dungeon Master resource? Well, one, like I said, being willing to plagiarize stuff. I mean, most of your good ideas are going to be inspired by, or they're going to come from something you've read or watched or what have you. So like when you read a good, there are so many adventures that came from reading my old Conan the Barbarian novels, and there are so many things like just novels of other things I've read. I'm running a Call of Cthulhu scenario this weekend, and it's been cobbled together from like a lot of different resources, just as far as like I needed a mansion, so I just basically copied like the game board of Clue to kind of, and I mixed it up a little bit, but I made like that is my mansion. Yeah, so it's like stuff like that where you're gonna steal stuff like that. But as far as like a singular dungeon master resource, man, I don't know. I mean, I see you did the Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. That's not a bad book. The thing is that I think those books are really fantastic for people that are just starting to get into being a dungeon master. And so since I've been running games for 4 decades, I don't need stuff like that. I mean, I think I've told this story a few times, but I'm just gonna kind of give an abridged version of it. Is that I've I've discovered that I forget where it was, but I was in my I'm thinking it was my early 20s, and I was running AD&D at the time, and we were getting together to play, and we we had a situation where I hadn't done any prep work at all for the session, and I got everybody over, and everybody was ready to play, and everybody was ready to go, and uh, other than like knowing where they were, and I just went with it, and I didn't have a map, I didn't have anything, and I ended up turning it into like a whole adventure that they went through, that they found this tomb, that inside was a was a specter that dared them to enter and to fight them, and they eventually went in, and we got it in there, and that was like when I realized I basically made the map on the fly, I made the story on the fly, I did the whole thing, and everybody had a really good time. I realized that I didn't have to do prep work anymore. And I'm not saying every dungeon master has to do prep work. They can get away without doing prep work. I think that there's a lot of stuff that you can do that will help you be a better. And the thing is, finding your own voice as a game manager and finding your own style as a game manager. I mean, I have a friend who he scripts out everything for his adventures, and his adventures are a lot of fun to play. And but I couldn't do that. I mean, like he's got stat blocks and stat blocks, and he's got everything prepped, everything set up, and it is he's got most of the contingencies figured out. Me, I just kind of roll with the punches, which is why I'm kind of looking forward to playing Call of Cthulhu this weekend, because Call of Cthulhu is much more a roll with the punches type game than it is a strict setup, and it is much more for like what is the cool thing to do in the moment, whereas instead of having a scripted moment to happen. So the kind of long story here that I made way too long, it wasn't abridged at all, is the best resource I think for dungeon masters is I mean there's there's a couple things like Necromancer Games put out a book called The Mother of All, and I think they're Frog God Games now, but I think Frog God Games has published again The Mother of All Encounter Tables. That is a really good book, as far as being able to like you need to have a monster or something for them to run into. That is a fantastic thing to have. Old school essentials has something like that as well for doing a hex crawl stuff in their book. Something that's really good. Frog God Games also came out with a book called The Tome of Adventure Design, and then it was remade by Mythmere Games when one of the like 3 or 4 members, Matt Finch of Frog God, he went off to form Mythmere Games, and then he got the rights to Tome of Adventure Design. You can get a copy of that. That is a fantastic book. Actually, if I'm going to say answer the Tome of Adventure Design is supremely good. It is so good that like basically with a few rolls of the dice, with a few like just kind of looking at things, it'll implant a really good idea in your brain of what will be like a really, really good adventure for you to do. And then you can kind of just go from there. Just Hey Mazer, happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Appreciate you very much. And don't be a lurker, talk more often. You better have. But Tome of Adventure Design. There, I'm gonna land on that. The Tome of Adventure Design is super good. There was a really good book, if you can track one down. It was an old AEG book called Toolbox, and there was one called Toolbox 2. The first one is way better than the second one. Second one's not bad. If you can track down that, it was made for 3rd edition D&D. If you can track down the PDF for that or track down a physical copy, those are both really good books. So you had another question there where I said, what's favorite resource for a quick fantasy name for an NPC? Just have a copy of the Silmarillion next to you. Just because then you just pick up the Silmarillion and then you zip and then you just put your finger down and you're going to find a character name in there. And if you don't technically like the character name, you can just change it up a little bit and go with that. I'm a big, actually, since you brought that up, and I'm sorry, like I said, I'm waiting for somebody else to show up to take it this time. But if you have questions, any questions at all you want to ask in the chat, I'll answer those, and we'll go from there. If you yeah, and I'll answer anything. I don't care. I mean, I'm kind of an open book thing. Open book. What is that? Is that my camera that's wobbling? Yeah, it is my camera wobbling. Why is it locked down? The cat's moving around here or something. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't remember now. It was a question to Silmarillion names. What I think is as a DM, I don't care if I think one of the things that you have to do, and this works really well if you're playing, and I'll do this during the Call of Cthulhu thing here. The characters, make your players take a note card, standard 3.5-inch note card, fold it in half so it will stand up, and put their character name on it, and put that in front of them. So your players will get used to looking at the thing, and they won't call them. So my buddy Craig, who's actually not Craig because he's running game, but like me for that matter, like my character name in the game I'm playing right now is dwarf named Odin. So if I have that, instead of that person saying to me, hey Lance, what are you gonna go search that room? They'll look at me, Odin, I think you should go search through it. It helps with the immersion. And so so Call of Cthulhu, which relies a lot on character immersion and just acting out what your person would do, instead of saying my character does this, they will actually say, I'll step quietly up to the window and peel back the curtain and peek outside to see what I see. They won't say my character walks over to the window and we'll peel back. It's just one of those things. So having a note card in front of you, because it's really tough to remember sometimes the characters' names until you get used to them. And since it's usually you're playing with these people that you've been friends with forever, you're just so used to calling them by their name. So that being said, what I like to do is on my DM screen, I do things like I'll have important NPCs, I'll have a sheet that I'll fold over so people can see, and then they'll see the names of the NPCs. But I also like doing is I like giving NPCs not really long names, Fistolirus or something, or Oranafanar. I don't like having, I like to just call them very quick, very basic names, and even names just like Stephen or Connor or just things that are short and to the point, right? I mean, because people are just always going to be like, what was the name of that that elf mayor that we knew? Was it when it was like an F? It was an F name, there's things like that. Farinophanon, was that what his name was? They're gonna look it up. And it's just like, but instead, if you not named him Fred, but if you like named him like Pharaoh or something like that, and which is, now I think that's a dumb name, but like, Fenner or something like that, something small, something very quick and to the point, you're gonna have a lot of better. It's just like, Stephen the Null is a very tough. Stephen the Null's tough. Don't knock Stephen. But so names in role-playing games are really important, I think, because it has to be something that sticks with you. It has to be something that like you remember, and has to be something that like is not important for someone to speak, but I mean, it's just like, I had a king and his name was Maximilian, which was just like, it kind of embodied that perfectly. When like the last time I was a player in game, I had a bard and I named him Connor Dillon just because I wanted to have like two names that seemed to be like the quintessential like I don't know, like pretty boy names, if you will. It's like everybody was, if that was like during the era where everybody was naming their kids Logan or Dylan or Connor, that was the name. So I just picked. So he's one of those people with two first names. So I thought it was funny, and but everybody always knew who Connor Dillon was, and everybody would always. And it was never, nobody ever called him Connor. It was always like, Connor Dillon, what are you doing? It was like, so it was just, it worked well. If you pick a good name, it works really well. I remember I was at a convention many years ago, and I went to go play in a D&D game. Just and like, and this guy, he ran the same D&D game every convention, and he handed out the same NPCs, and the whole reason he did it was because he did 1 2-hour session of D&D on the very first day, and if you did that, you didn't have to pay you didn't have to pay for your badge for the convention. So he would do that, and he would have one event, it'd be right away, and he'd run the Caves of Chaos right out of keeping the Borderlands, and he'd be like the same eight adventures, whatever. And I played it a couple times, and I think the so my character was a first level mage, and my name was Jasper the Magnificent. And I remember years later, I was playing in a Pathfinder game. I hadn't played a mage in a long time, and I made Jasper the Magnificent, just because I thought the name Jasper was just a really good name. And ultimately, it didn't really fit the character, but everybody always remembered. It's like, because I always think of Jasper as being like an old timey prospector, and he was he was actually a pretty young human. I think he was human. Yeah, a young human mage. And then just he had a small dog as his what's what I'm looking for here, familiar, that he just kept in his backpack and would use them to like for the alert. Ultimately it was Pathfinder, so it was Pathfinder, so it was all min-max. But I remember I took the dog because I think it gave me the alertness feat for free, and like I got bonuses for certain perception checks, if I remember. But yeah, just to make sure you never got in trouble, I made sure it was like a small, like, not a Chihuahua per se, but like it was just a smaller breed of a dog, like a Yorkie or something, or a little terrier, and he just ran around in my backpack the entire time, so I didn't have to worry about him getting hurt or getting killed or anything, which is what every magician should do with their familiar. Make sure. These are Dot's homestyle pretzels. So we've talked about Dots a few times on the show. The longest single D&D marathon session I've ever played in. We actually did this for Extra Life charity. We played with occasional breaks. We live streamed a 24-hour session of D&D, and man, everybody was super gung-ho at the beginning, and then man, we made it though. We made it. After about 12 hours, it was a bit of a slog. It was tough, but we got through. Dots is, I mean, you can find it. It's owned by Nestle now, so you should be able to have Nestle deliver it to you wherever they are. I feel bad. I need to refill my tank with water. You can see it's like actually like you can see that it's not much water in the back right there. You can kind of tell. It's about 4 inches low right now. I got to do that tomorrow. I have no idea where everybody is. I have no idea. I mean, like, I just assume it's gonna, and this is gonna just be a really, really fairly quick Alaboom. But again, if anybody's got any questions about anything, they can ask away. I would like to say, since I've got everybody a captive audience, we are running a kind of a quick, I shouldn't say quick, but I mean, we're kind of running we're running a Kickstarter campaign right now for a game called Bazaars of Ubar. It's half of the way funded, real low funding goal of $10,000. It's just something that we wanted to. We had a bunch of art and was ready to go, and it was one of those things where we kind of promised the designer that we'd have it done by the end of the year, and like of course COVID and everything else happened, and we kind of hemmed and hawed as to whether or not we wanted to do it or not, and we just ended up launching. So it's a really fantastic game about engine building and also trading and a little bit of polyomino action going on. Go ahead and check that out. If you feel like it's something you want to back, of course there's gonna be all kinds of cool exclusives and special things included inside. So if that's something you're interested in, if you got a copy of Arcana Rising, that really, really good drafting game of engine building, this is from the same designer, Tim Armstrong, who did and this is a tile drafting game that creates your engine. The tiles actually get activated to do your trading actions. And each tile you take, you can add to your tableau, and you can use that tile to not only activate the tile you just took, but also other tiles in sequence that you placed on the thing. And whoever ends up with the most money at the end of the game makes it. You can play it on Tabletop Simulator right now. If you want to check that out, you can just go ahead and search for it in the workshop, Bazaars of Ubar, and also if you go to Kickstarter, you can check that out too. So there you go. I have seen that. It was the last lobster that was alive or whatever in the aquarium, and he took it home, and he's been and I think that's pretty cool. Leon the lobster. I have checked that out. My most prized RPG D&D item. I've got lots of rare stuff, right? I've got some. I mean, I've got a lot of like early. I mean, I've got a lot of old stuff from when I was a kid. Most of it's all ripped to tatters and stuff. Well loved would be the way to describe it. I mean, I'm pretty. I like there was a. Right before Gygax died, he was working with Troll Lord Games to create Lord Zagig's castle, and Zagig's castle, the upper works, and then it was going to be the lower works. It was going to be this huge dungeon, and he completed the lower works and upper works and Castle Zagig. But he passed away before he was able to finish it. But I remember I tracked down a copy of the upper works. I was pretty excited about it. Hey, Mage's Musings! If you guys haven't checked out Mage's Musings, he's got a really lots of good storylines going on. It is like the best kept secret for RPG people out there. So if you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and do that. And also because of him, I was able to discover and find the dungeon minister, who is also an Anglican priest who is running a campaign and has fantastic videos as well. So there you go, real good stuff. Go subscribe to both of those channels if you haven't already. No, I guess I'm most prized. So as far as like the stuff that's worth hanging out, like things that like are, there's some stuff that I have that's just rare, that like I think is cool to own, like I said. But as far as like my most prized stuff, are my first, are have to be my basic and expert sets that I still own. I still have the dice for, just because I remember playing basic D&D and expert level D&D, so much as a kid. And let's be fair, I didn't really play a lot of expert. You just played basic, right? You played basic, and then like you guys, you play through a couple of adventures, and then you'd forget about it and get bored, and then you'd come back to it again later. Like when you picked up, like, you run Palace of the Silver Princess, and then you get done, and everybody would talk about the fact that like, oh yeah, we're gonna like run another dungeon, and we're gonna do it, and we're gonna, now that you're all level 2 or whatever, or level 3, and then you never got back to it. And then they're like, oh, let's start again. And they're like, where's our character sheets, where's this, where's that? And so then you would you'd start out in a river, roll up new characters, right? So you just have stuff like that you do it. So like those are like my most prized things, just because like literally it's a glimpse into my early childhood. And like, like I've talked about this before, it's like, as you get older, you keep looking back, right? And then the reason why, not to be morbid, is that there's more to look back to than you have to look forward to. And so you have this, like I had a moment earlier today where I had a kind of a burst memory of like an interaction I had with my daughter, and it made me stop and like almost shed a tear, just because it like kind of reminded me of like just how like innocent and like just like amazed she was at the world. Now she's turning into a full-fledged, she's 15, and she's like becoming like the person she's going to be, and I can't be more proud of her at all. But you can't help but just feel like those moments, right? You just kind of lose them, and so it's a little sad, and it's like, but whatever, you get over it and you kind of move forward or whatever. I never had an orange cover. I just had the classic green cover. There you go. So that's one of those things. So do you have any vintage video game systems? I have all my the only video game system I have that I don't have anymore is my first PlayStation, because I gave it when I moved out of, when I was living with my buddy, when I got the PlayStation 2, when I moved out, I told him he could have the PlayStation, because I didn't need it. I was like, yeah, you can just have it. So I don't have my original PlayStation, but I still have my Atari 2600. I still have my SNES. I still have my Nintendo 64. I still have my Commodore 64, and like works completely. I still have I don't have the PlayStation, but I still have my Sega Genesis. I still have my Sega Dreamcast. I still have PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. I'm on up to a PS5. Weird thing is that I after, like, I bought the first PlayStation, and then after I got my PlayStation, I like PS2, PS3, PS4, and PS5. Those were all gifted to me. I've never had to buy any of those ever again. They were all gifts from people that gave those to me. God, I can't understand why is this wobbling so bad. I'm not even bumping the table. It's like weird. I don't know. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, I've still got all that stuff. I never had an Intellivision, never had a ColecoVision. Yeah, I mean, I still have a lot of my old computers too, but those don't work anymore. A lot of them are just dead. Let's see here. Have started with Beck Me Yourself, but I said I bought as a kid thinking I wouldn't need them anymore. Alas, that is true. I mean, the nice thing is that I mean, there's so many Beck Me clones out there, right? Right, musings. I mean, it's like there are so many of them that are. For those of you joining in, hey everybody, this has turned into a weird ask me anything thing because apparently everybody else isn't showing up for this, so I'll just keep going as long as I get questions, as long as I got stories. But so the what was I talking about? Beck Me thing. Okay, so with Beck Me, there's all these clones of it now though, right? With OSC as a clone. I mean, basically Castles and Crusades is pretty much a clone. I would say Adventure Conqueror King is in its own way pretty much a clone. Labyrinth Lord was a clone. I mean, so there's tons of them out there that are just taking up, you know, and everything. Somebody asked what was the what's the highest level I ever got a character up to? Well, not really high because I was always the DM. I was the forever DM for the most part. I mean, I play every once in a while, like I'm playing right now and I'm having fun playing right now. Odin Forgehammer, dwarven fighter, you know, whose clan was wiped out by the evil empire, and now he's working with his fellows to try to, you know, just carve out a spot in the world where he can just retire. We're far, far away from where he doesn't have any kind of a belief that he'll ever be able to, like, you know, bring the empire down to its knees or anything like that. He just wants to find a place where they won't be able to mess with him anymore, and he can go and live by himself and just brood and be angry for the rest of his life. But anyway, yeah, no. So I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where, you know, I mean, I think I got for old school, like, you know, basic D&D and stuff like that. I think I got a character up to 3rd or 4th level before we stopped playing. Probably like a 3rd level thief because it was probably easy to level up. One of the things though, I did play in an AD&D campaign in high school, and I had a Drow Elf cleric that actually got up to like level 7 or 8. That's probably as high as I've ever gotten as far as that goes in AD&D. Yeah, I mean, like everything else, it's like, I mean, I guess Jasper, I mentioned Jasper in Pathfinder. I think that mage got to like level 11 or level 12, and that was like kind of a longer campaign, and we got pretty high up as far as levels go. Because I remember it towards the end, because of random happenstance and because of equipment and what have you, Jasper actually got up to like having like an intelligence of like 28 or something. It was just ridiculous. And it's Pathfinder. And I remember like it was like I was looking up and like he had an intelligence stat that was greater than most deities, you know. So he was just like, you know, one of these like, you know, just his head just hummed with power as he thought about things. But anyway, it's fun. You know, I mean, it's there you go. I mean, yeah, Kooky Kid never owned a Nintendo device. I mean, that's pretty normal. I mean, like Super Nintendo I got just because of there was like 2 or 3 games that I really liked that I wanted to play still. So I mean, those are the reasons why I tracked those down. Best stories I've encountered is old school essentials fantasy. I agree. Advanced fantasy is good. I mean, the thing about the old school essentials is they're just always adding stuff and making stuff really cool. If we didn't play our own rule set, like if we didn't, you know, ED&D, enhanced Dungeons and Dragons, I mean, I'd play OSC. You know, that's what I play. And the thing is that like my rule set that I play with is actually even altered from the original from our ED&D rules, because there's lots of things I don't like. I like to make things as simple as possible. I want dice rolls to just be roll the dice and you know what happened and move forward. I don't want any looking up rules. I don't want checking on anything weird. I just want things to be simple and done with and move forward. That's just one of those things. Big sale on Steam. I mean, the only game we're playing right now that I've been playing a lot of is RimWorld. I kind of got into the whole thing with like the mods for RimWorld, and I just started diving into those and diving deeper and deeper into those. And man, oh man, I mean, even with the release of 1.4, there's still lots of mods you can play with, and there's so many things you can do and mess with, and it just changes up the game completely. So RimWorld is a fantastic game. I mean, it is one of those games where like you start playing it and all of a sudden you blink and it's like 6 hours later. So be warned. I don't know if it's on sale or not. I know Tabletop Simulator. If you don't have Tabletop Simulator and you want to be able to play board games, it's 50% off right now. $10 will get you Tabletop Simulator, which is a pretty good way. So there you go. Everybody plays an Amalgam, I think. I mean, I remember when we were playing second edition D&D, there were all kinds of different rules that we would use that would mess with things. I mean, there were just simple things that we just said, this makes sense, let's do this. Like we really despise the fact that there wasn't a healing spell for each level, right? There should be a second level healing. There should be a third level healing. There should be a fourth level healing. So it was one of those things where we just adopted that and put it in. I think lots of people did that. It wasn't like our group was like the one that had it, and of course, then when third edition comes out, there's like a healing spell for each level of spell. When we did initiative just like third edition did, right? We had like your dex bonus. We took your armor bonus, the negative for your armor bonus, and gave you that as a plus, and then we rolled a d20 and whoever was first got to go. I mean, that's like one of those things that we just did, because we thought, well, that just makes sense. And so then now everybody can just go on their own specific time. And so like, and there's other stuff too. I mean, I don't remember everything, but you remember thinking, like, we laughed. It was like, oh, Watsy must have had like our gaming room bugged or whatever, and listened to how we played, and then took those ideas and then stole them and then put them in the third edition. So there you go. Trying to think. I mean, what's weird is that like we were I was talking about like other role play. Like I said, I'm playing Call of Cthulhu this weekend, which I'm excited to do, right? Because it's been so long since I've played an RPG that isn't a D&D or just a fantasy adventure type of game. But I mean, honestly, it's weird how ubiquitous D&D is, right? Even games that aren't like, even if you aren't playing D&D, and I'm not talking about, and I'm including like Pathfinder and BECME and OSC, I'm including all of those in there. Like, for the most part, it seems like everybody's playing a fantasy RPG, right? Some idea of that process, right? So like, I played lots of different RPGs. I played Shadowrun, Mech Warrior, Toon of all things, Paranoia, which is the quintessential one-shot thing. Nobody ever lives through that. Call of Cthulhu, lots of GURPS, Top Secret, Rifts, Traveler, There's all those things out there. But for the most part, like we don't. Everybody just circles back to D&D. And I think it's just because it's so, I don't know, it's so much easier to like just think of yourself as going into a dungeon and finding stuff and killing stuff and taking its gold, right? It's just such a basic, like not a need, but it just kind of satisfies a like guttural instinct of what we want to do, and it's so much easier to create too, right? I mean, it's just like even like Cookie Kid you just said about and never played Vampire. I did play Mage the Ascension though, that one that was like that was a spin-off of that. I had a few friends who played Vampire, and I never got invited to a play session. I wish it was something I was interested in doing. I played Cyberpunk as well. I mean, I haven't played the new Cyberpunk, but I did play Cyberpunk back in the day. But anyway, it's just it's so much easier to make a D&D game, right? It's like make a dungeon, put monsters in it, put treasure in it, send them in. It's just so much easier. I mean, obviously that's pretty basic, but like creating a top secret game, that's just like making a spy thriller. That's pretty out there, as far as that goes. But I mean, like coming up with a Cthulhu scenario, not as easy as D&D. Anything else, anything that isn't D&D, Shadowrun. Ugh. I mean, the thing was, I really enjoyed playing Shadowrun. That's probably like the most fun I have playing an RPG. I don't mind. I mean, I enjoy playing. I very much do. But man, I really like making a Shadowrun character, and I really like the system, and I really really enjoy Shadowrun is such a power fantasy for anybody that plays it. Like the fact that you don't really have to wait and level up to be powerful, right? I mean, it's like the character creation. I mean, I haven't read the newest rule book, but I remember the character creation with its ABCD, if you know what I'm talking about. So basically, Shadowrun, when you created your character, you had to decide like what your A factor was, your B factor was, and your C factor was. And I think there was a D or an E. Basically there was the letters of the alphabet. And so like if your A factor was like attributes, you got X amount of attributes to points to divvy up to all of your attributes. If your A factor was money, you started off with a bajillion dollars or whatever. If you started off with your A factor in magic, you could be a mage. If you start off with your A factor in, I think like skills was the thing you could do as an A factor as well. So there are all these things that you got to select as your starting like factors. And so like the thing was, if you wanted to be a mage and be able to cast spells, then that was your A factor. But then like you wouldn't have money, because then like most mages were like really really poor. And so it kind of balanced everything out, right? It's like if you had a bunch of money, a mage could show up and blast your brain out with a mana bolt and things like that. So it was fun to like create your character. So at the very beginning, like you could create your character, like you could give yourself the million new yen, which was like the A factor in money. So you did that, took A factor in money, took a B factor in attributes and like a C factor in skills, and then you didn't care about you weren't going to take magic anyway, so you just lower that down. Anyway, so now you have a character that has all this money, and you can outfit them up with all kinds of cool cyber tech, so you have like robotic arms, so you're super strong, and they have claws in them, and and you have like headwear or whatever. So like you have internal targeting computers. So when you ever have your gun, you're super and so you have this totally chromed out death dealing cyber samurai that's just that's what they call them, cyber samurais, that like when you got into combat you were super fast, your reflexes were ridiculous, you were just basically like a Wolverine on steroids. And you get to Earthbound. I played Earthbound as well, but yeah, so like but you get to like embody that like that character, and whether you were a mage or what have you, and you just kind of would come up with a character concept, and then you'd create that character concept. And I had all kinds of Shadowrun character concepts. One of my favorites was like this one character that I made. His whole thing was that he would he would only be he would never be physically around the players. He would only be in astral form, because he would leave his body, like he was a college student, and he would leave his body and he was just an astral warrior. And then he would, and since he could travel, as an astral person you could travel really fast, he would just follow with the party. And then like there was a way that he was able to, I forget how he was able to communicate with the party. I think there might have been a like an adept or something in the area that was able to see him, like go view the world astrally, that kind of thing. And stuff like that allowed him to, but so then if there was ever any kind of a magical force that would fight or attack, he was there and he was able to fight those things. And so there's like, but the thing about the Shadowrun was that he had the guy who runs our Shadowrun campaigns, when he runs them, a friend of mine named Jason, he's so good at it. I mean, he's just so good at just, and he's a zero prep game master as well. He just knows what would be cool in the moment, and then he lets that happen. And so then he creates a setting and truly a sandbox, and then just lets us be in it and be a part of it and like grow within it. So really love Shadowrun. Earthdawn was a great system, man, but Earthdawn, it was so many rules, so many things going on, so much stuff. And I mean, Earthdawn I love the idea of the setting. I just love that idea that like the world had been ravaged by, and I absolutely hated the fact that they called them horrors. It's just a bad word. Horrors. It's not, I mean, horrors. Well, just call them demons. I mean, that's what we did when we played. I hated calling them. It's like, oh, it's a horror. That it's just a demon. It was just a demon that had to be defeated or whatever. But I love the idea that the world had been ravaged by these demons, and everybody comes out, after the world's been destroyed, kind of thing. I liked how that worked. And I liked how, since it was all Thassa, that they managed to actually turn it into like the Shadowrun world was the same as the Earthbound world. And so they were actually trying to get to a point where in the Shadowrun world, the actual official scenario was that the horrors or demons or whatever were going to come back and in the Shadowrun world. And so, but it never happened because Fast went out of business. And Dunkelzahn's Revenge or whatever it was, or Dunkelzahn's, I forget what it was, like whatever that was, Dunkelzahn was like knew that was coming, and like he like I forget what it is, but like Dunkelzahn's will or something like that was like, because Dunkelzahn was the dragon who became the president, and then he was assassinated, but like he killed himself or something in an attempt to prevent the horrors from entering the world or something. I forget what it is. I have to look it up, but it was weird. But I like that. I like the fact that they combined Earth Dawn into Shadowrun, which I thought was cool. And I remember when they were talking, like Earth Dawn had the map of Barsave and the world of Barsave. And then when they finally showed it, and they expanded out the map so you could actually see all of it, you could see that it was actually like it was actually Europe, or it was like Greece or something like that. I forget what it was, but it was actually like the map of Earth, which was, I thought was cool. Yeah, so I mean that was cool, and I thought that was there's a lot of brilliant ideas out there that just never seem to I don't know, just some of it doesn't work. I played Gamma World only a couple times though. Played Star Frontiers, actually more than Gamma World. Played Star Wars RPG, that was good, both the West End version and the newer one. And that's fun. Star Wars RPG is fun because everybody knows the lore really well, right? So like when you start a campaign, you try to immerse people into it and try to give them the backstory. Like, you ever notice that like when you get a book that is like, some new Call of Cthulhu scenario or whatever, you get that, and there's always like that big background section. It's like 12 pages long, and it's like 8-point type, and it's teaching you all this stuff in the background. And then maybe there'll be like one of those timeline things where it's like the timeline will be like 2200 years ago, something 2165 years ago, something. And it just keeps going until finally it's like 0 today or whatever. Thing is like, I could read that as like a GM if I'm going to run that campaign, but why bother? Because the players aren't going to pay attention. They don't care, so it's like getting them to care about the lore of your world is so tough and so difficult. So when you're running a Star Wars campaign, everybody knows the lore. Everybody knows it, like, because you're all big Star Wars nerds. It's like I was in a Star Trek RPG many years ago, back in high school. We all knew that stuff too. So it's like you don't have to have the buy-in. It's like pretty cool. I don't know. So what was the thing? Somebody else asked a question. I have to scroll back here. Let me see here. Oh, some of my favorite computer RPGs. Everybody keeps talking about the Geeks Channel. What's Geeks Channel? I don't know. Should I know what Geeks Channel is? I probably do know. I just don't know. I don't know. I mean, if we're gonna go really old, I mean, Ultima 4 was kind of a quintessential RPG. I mean, it was just so good. I remember that, and like playing the Bart Still stuff on my Commodore 64 back in the day. Really good memories of playing those. Also on my Commodore 64, I really enjoyed playing Wizard's Crown. That was a really good game from SSI. There was a oh, hey, Matt Paquette's coming in finally. Ye Old Geek. I don't know about that. I'll have to check that out. Oh, hey, buddy. Hey. What's up, my Canadian friend?
Not much. Just got home from D&D.
Oh yeah, I've been sitting here just chatting with the people since everybody else no showed. No, so I was talking. So old computer RPG games I used to play.
Oh,
Um,
like Curse of the Azerбans and stuff like
well,
that.
yeah, I mean, I played some of that stuff too. But I'm trying to remember other. Oh, I subscribed to this guy, Ye Old Geek. Yeah, I've been subscribed to him for a while. Anyway, go subscribe to Ye Old Geek. He's good. But anyway, so no, uh, no, I was thinking about like old Commodore 64 RPGs, and I played a lot of, and then there was the Fantasy series. It was PHANTASI or Y. I remember those are really good. Fantasy 3 was a really, really good.
Fantasy Star, you mean?
No, it was just called Fantasy. It was
Really?
like, and it was really good. And then so like I played a lot of, like I said, Ultima 4, played a lot of the like the old Hula Radiance, those gold box games, played those. Um I enjoyed, and then when I got out of the Commodore, and I didn't have a computer forever. And then when I got when I got a PC, I remember, I mean, as far as
I had
like
the Kryn one, which was awesome.
which one?
The Dragonlance one, the Kryn.
Oh yeah,
Champions
never
of
played
Kryn.
that one. I did not have that one. Yeah. I played a lot of Might and Magic. I played a lot of Wizardry as well. Wizardry was good.
Never played those.
Yeah, I mean those were just old like classic ones. I remember the old text adventures, Zork and stuff from Infocom. Those are good games.
I remember playing a game like Zork on the Trash 80.
Trash 80, baby.
Remember those?
Oh yeah, I had a buddy who had a Trash 80.
So it was like, and I remember it's like A space R enter. It's attack right, attack right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called.
I remember I mean a lot of those games were just horrible.
Yeah.
I remember I went to like, and I many years ago I mentioned this, and Richard Ham told me what the game was, but I remember I went to my dad's third wife's family had a farm up in northern Minnesota, and we'd go and visit every once in a while. I remember we went up there, and I saw he had, I forget what kind of computer he had. I think it was like a VIC 20 or something like that, but he had a game that was basically an RPG game that was like kind of top down. It was really weird and strange, and it was, I can't remember the name of it. And I was like, but I remember like when I saw that he had this, and it was on a tape drive. So in order to load it, you had to push play on the tape.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
We had that for my TI.
Yeah. So I mean, it was ridiculous. Is what it was.
Yeah.
But I remember I did that. That was pretty cool. I mean, it was like, you know, it's weird that like, you know, there's like all that stuff that's like so, I don't know, it's just in your genes. But I remember like that's all you had, right? I mean, it's just like you didn't have like the width and breadth of all these games that you have now, and it's just kind of like you try to explain that to people, and you're just like, you know, you're just so spoiled. You're so spoiled with all these games. It's just like, it's just, you don't even understand. You just don't understand how tough it was to find anything worth playing back when we were younger. It was weird.
I remember when I got my Amiga, it was like Christmas morning every day. It was amazing. Loved it.
Yeah. See, this is all like they're trying to guess. It's no, you're never gonna guess what it was. I had to actually, I could like search my inbox and see it, because I remember like Talon Guard. It wasn't Talon Guard. Now you got me thinking. I'm gonna see, because it's like an email I got from Richard Ham a million years ago. Let me see if he's got it. Talk amongst yourselves. How you been? You don't even have real you don't have real
Don't say it.
Yeah, that's why you're around.
Yeah, we just do it before you guys. We have real Thanksgiving. We just do it before you guys.
Yeah. Real Thanksgiving. No, I'm trying to find this thing here. Talk amongst yourselves.
So we played our second session of Capstone Adventure tonight. Level 20 adventure, which was pretty fun.
Level 20 adventure? You're all level 20?
Yeah.
How can that be fun?
It's just three sessions. And it's just like this thing that was made for level 20 characters. And I wasn't here the first week we played. I was at BGG, and literally halfway through the Wednesday night, I get a text saying, "Matt, your character just died, 84 points of damage in one round." I'm like, what? So I get home and I was talking to one of my other players. And I said, "I can't believe I died." He's like, "Who told you that?" I said, "Andrew did." He's like, "Yeah, he was bullshitting." Like, you bugger.
Well, doesn't sound very funny at all.
No, I know. So I printed up some minis today to bring for my guy tonight, and he was in a pose with like leaning back. He's an archer, so he's leaning back with his kind of hair like this. He had an arrow in his hand, and one of his knees was kind of raised and stuff. It didn't print, so he was like an amputee at the knee. So I brought him anyways. I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna role play this. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah,
But
I
can't
find it. I can't find this ridiculous thing with the ridiculous game. Anyway, doesn't matter. Lost to the ages. I'll never know. I'll never remember. But it was cool that like he like I remembered it, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, that was so and so, and I was like, I don't know, and then he sent me then he sent me a thing or whatever, and said that oh yeah, that's what it is. This is what it is or whatever. And I was like, and I looked and I was like, by Jove, you're right. That is the old game. It doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, man, how you been? Blah blah blah.
Good. Well, okay. Mom's not doing so great, but
Oh, that sucks.
yeah, it's really weird. She's like super out of breath and stuff, and she gets on the phone and she's like, it's like she's just come off of a 5K run, and she like walked across the room.
That sucks.
Yeah. Dad's not doing much better either, so we'll get there. I'll feel better soon.
Yeah. I will say this. I wanna say Sanaya is somebody to actually bounce these things off of. So my son and I went to go see Black Adam.
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay, so I want to talk openly about Black Adam. I am not going to go into any spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie, I'm not going to reveal anything. I'm not going to do anything specific. I don't know if it's because I expect so little from a DC movie that like I found myself like I hate to say this, but if like as long as like nobody was talking, I was like I could enjoy it. Does that make sense? Well, no, I mean it's like because it was just like everybody, all the characters just seemed to be just so I don't know what it is.
I kind of agree that the levity and stuff in a DC movie isn't quite the same as it is in
The
a Marvel.
levity just doesn't work. They don't sell it. They don't.
No, they don't lean into it, right?
Well, it's not even that they don't lean into it. It's just it's like they don't set it up to like for a payoff. It's just like they throw the joke in and then they just hope it sticks, and it just doesn't. There are so many moments where like Black Adam has to like, you know, say something that's I would say like the closest representation for me would be um uh who's his face in Guardians of the Galaxy, the wrestler
Drax.
Yeah, Drax. When Drax says something that's like painfully non-self-aware, like, you know, when he says, you know, it's just like he goes, everything we throw just flies over your head. And he's like, nothing flies over my head. My reflexes are far too quick. Yeah. So that's funny, right? It's just like because he kind of deadpans or whatever like that. But I mean, Black Adam here, he's like he's very much like he's doing the deadpan and trying to make the jokes, but it's like they're not funny, right? I mean, it's just kind of like it's just. I mean, there's that one moment where it's like, and then the fact that they have Atom Smasher, and did you see that? Like, okay, the girl shows up and she's at the power of the wind. When they go through the thing, it says Red Tornado is like on her thing, but then she's wearing green. It's weird. Like if you didn't see it, you don't see it. But when they're doing the readouts for who's going to be there or whatever, it was like it said Red Tornado, like so and so alias the Red Tornado, and I was like, cool, like the Red Tornado, like because the Red Tornado was always like one of the I thought it was like a cool.
Yeah, but wasn't he an android though?
Yeah, he was an android. He was a total. He was like a B, like it was a total like
B-lister?
level level 2-tier superhero, right? And it was just kind of like, well, why, you know? And I didn't know. I mean, basically, it blinks on there for a half a second,
Yeah,
and then it's just gone. I mean, I thought Dr. Fate did really well with Dr. Fate.
That's what some people say. It's like it was like the Dr. Fate show.
So I mean, I thought that was cool, and I thought the casting of Brosnan as Dr. Fate was really good.
I'm a big fan of Aldous Hodge, and he played Carter Hall.
Yeah, I mean, Hawkman. He did a really good job as Hawkman. I'll give it up. I mean,
I think he was a little too over the top, to be honest.
A little, but I mean, the thing about it is you know, Carter Hall was always like a complete and total badass, right? I mean, he was just he was but he was a bit of a glass cannon. It was always kind of like that was his but he was like, you know, Hawkman was a cool hero, and I thought they did him justice in the movie. You know, I thought they did pretty.
That's a different movie, Lance.
Yeah, well,
Justice League, that's a different movie. It's Justice Society.
No, I mean Justice Society. Yeah, just well, I was always a Justice Society guy over Justice League. I always thought Justice Society had the better heroes with Carter Hall and the Sentinel and Golden Age Flash. Man, Golden Age Flash. Ray Allen. I mean,
Ray Garrick.
What?
Jay Garrick, wasn't it? Jay Garrick.
Jay Garrick. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Jay Garrick with the wings on his helmet. I mean,
yeah, the metal kind of like brimmed helmet. Yeah, that was good.
Metal brimmed helmet. Yeah, and then they had not Catman, but he was
oh yeah, I know it was
oh man.
Yeah, his name is Ted something or other.
Yeah, and he had no superpowers. He was
Black
just like,
Cat. No,
it wasn't Black. Was it Black Cat? I don't know, but he had no superpowers, but he was like the world's like greatest pugilist. I mean, like he was just like pound for pound, like he could fight better than anybody else. And
Wildcat.
There you go. And then we already did Our Man. Our Man was just, he was just cool. Take a pill, and I'm Starman, which the Starman comic, there's just the straightforward Starman comic. I mean, that is one of the, it falls apart a little bit towards the end, but Starman, I think it had like a 90 some issue run, and it was one of the best things they ever did. And just really, really one of the best ever that DC ever put out. And it was super good. But I mean, like the fact that
wasn't Mr. Terrific one part of it too?
Mr. Terrific, yes, Mr. Terrific was also super cool as well. So Maxine Hunkel as Cyclone, and then as the granddaughter of Abigail Ma Hunkel, and Red Tornado, she seeks love to her familiar superhero legacy. So maybe that's what it was that was like on there. But I mean, that was like cool, Red Tornado. Oh no, it's just Cyclone. But I mean, those two characters, it just felt like they were just thrown in there for no reason. Like Atom Smasher and her, it was like, what's your power? You're throwing iron sticks at Black Adam, but you're not really doing anything. You're just throwing them around him for some reason. I mean,
Caning him.
Yeah, but not though. It wasn't pitting him at all. He was just standing there, and it was like, and just the Atom Smasher stuff was kind of cool, I guess. But but it was like, oh hey, we're gonna bring these two people in, and then we're gonna kind of hint that these two young heroes are kind of having a thing, and then we're just gonna abandon it completely and just whatever and go off from there, and it's just kind of like, and then there's and then I don't know. It was just it felt uneven, so uneven, so many stuff.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, let's, at one point, Black Adam allows himself to be captured because he realizes that he's not good for the world or whatever. And then they're like, as my son said, I thought the movie was over. Just like, nope, you still got 45 minutes to go. Why even have him brought to this Antarctic site and plunged into the ice or whatever to be held at bay? It was just kind of like, why are you even doing this? And then they made some big show of this woman comes out who runs the secret place or whatever, and makes a big show, and for her like 5 minutes. I mean, it's stuff like that DC just ham fists into every one of their movies, where you're just like, what is the point? It's just, why are you doing this? It's just like, you always feel like there's 45 minutes that get left on the cutting room floor, and it's just like they figure, it's just good enough. Moving on.
I gotta say, Marvel does movies better than DC, but DC does TV shows better than Marvel.
Yeah, and
DC also does the animated universe way better than Marvel.
Oh yeah, well, don't even get me started, man. We lost the best Batman.
Yeah, we sure did.
That sucks.
It's funny, whenever I read comics of Batman and it's Kevin Conroy, I hear in my head.
Oh yeah, you can't not hear that voice in your head when you're Steve Shives did a very fitting tribute to if you know, it's Steve Shives
Who's that?
Channel. It's just a YouTube channel. He's extremely liberal, so if that's not your thing, don't watch him.
But that's the guy you were talking about last week. Yeah,
he does a ton of stuff about Star Trek and comics and stuff like that, and along with a lot of political videos as well. But I mean, his Star Trek stuff is top notch, and
I'd be interested to hear what Kevin and the other dude there, Fat Man on Batman, what they have to say about it.
Yeah. No, I mean that's just no, it just stinks, right? Just
Yeah.
he was and he had and like the thing was, it was like it was the lighthearted I'm Bruce Wayne voice that he used. Like there's like multiple scenes in the old animated series where they show that that's the fake, right? Like his voice is like the Batman.
Yeah.
That's who he is. It's he puts on the mask to be Bruce Wayne, to
Yeah.
pretend.
He I even hear Bruce Wayne is way over the top. Hi, how are you? Kind of Bruce
Oh,
Wayne voice.
yeah, you hear me. He's like, Harvey, it's good to see you. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Kevin Conroy had this awesome story in the days after 9/11 happened. He has this story that he tells because he worked a ton in restaurants, as many actors do. So he wanted to help. So he went down to Ground Zero after it happened, and he's like, "How can I help?" They're like, "You need to leave. We're good here. You need to go. We have all the qualified, experienced help, firefighters and whatnot that we have. Thanks so much, but no." And then he ended up finding, like, in the outskirts of Ground Zero, there was like restaurants, stuff like that, and he ended up volunteering at a restaurant in the kitchen, and where all the first responders would go to get fed. And he recounts this time where it was like all these New York first responders in there having lunch or dinner or whatever, and he gets on the PA and he's like, "I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman." And it was just this raucous, huge applause and everything. That they, everybody was kind of like just hunkering around their meal, not really saying a whole lot. And it just completely brought everybody up. And every time I watch him tell that story, it's not even having a close personal tie to all of that stuff. It just really gets me right there.
Yeah, no, it's pretty awesome.
And like being an actor and like a venerable actor that he was, he can spin a pretty good yarn.
So for those of you wondering about my fish tank, it is probably of the 120 gallons of water it could have in it, probably has 95. So don't worry about it. I have to do a water change and I just haven't gotten around to it. Don't worry. Next time you see my fish tank, the water will be all the way to the top. I just fed them. All of my South American cichlids are doing wonderful. So geez, just relax, everyone. And yes, that the kind of the like people are asking what the black stripe is, and that's so I what I do with my tank is I overload the substrate. So I have anaerobic bacteria that grow that actually help maintain the nitrate that is in the tank. So because then I can do less water changes and I keep my nitrates at a very low level because of that. But anyway, enough yada about my fish tank. Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where it's like I heard he died and I was like, no way. And I was like, and then you found out he had cancer and you're like, well, fuck, that sucks.
He roomed with Robin Williams at Juilliard.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, and I did see that he wrote a story. He wrote a Batman story that DC published. And if you go to DC Comics, you can download it for free right now. If you want to go, you can go and it's about him. It's a Batman story, but it definitely is a reflection on Kevin Conroy's life about being young and being an actor and being a closeted gay man, and the trials and tribulations he had growing up, and just stuff like that. So it's actually it's pretty good.
Was he survived by a partner? Do you know?
Yeah. I think he was married. I mean, if not, he had a long term partner.
Yeah.
That he was.
I didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah, Mage's Music, keep putting out the good content, man. I'll tell anybody who listen that that guy just makes good stuff. Go to his YouTube channel and
Yeah.
subscribe. No, I mean that just stinks, right? You know, it's just like I don't know. Did you see that Watsy is trying to sell their film production studio? The one that's coming out with the D&D movie that hasn't even come out. They're like they're trying to they're looking for buyers for their studio.
Did they also put out the Warcraft movie?
I don't know about that, but
that's WotC though, isn't it? Or it's Blizzard. No,
Blizzard,
never mind.
that's Blizzard, yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't know that. Though I did have a little bit of a
Music
chuckle.
is Canadian. I didn't know that. He's just like you.
Who
He's
is?
weird? He's weird like you, Matt.
Who's Canadian?
Mage's Music. He's in the chat right now.
Oh.
Yeah, he's just a guy who has a D&D channel on YouTube. It's really
Do you know who? So Chris Pine, who's in this D&D movie. Do you know who his dad is?
Who?
He's Chris Pine. So you know Chris Pine?
No,
He's like
Mr. Pine is his dad.
But do you know who? He's an actor as well. He was the sergeant or whatever in Chips.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's neat.
I didn't know until
I remember
recently.
Chips. What Ponch and John, baby.
Ponch is actually a reserve police officer.
I believe it.
California Highway Patrol. All right, I'm gonna take off. It's
thanks for showing up for 5 minutes. I appreciate it.
5 minutes. It was at least 15.
No,
I want to get
anything.
Pardon me.
Yeah, you play anything cool or new or anything?
Yeah, I played this last week.
That's a good game.
It is a good game. I bought it at BGG. I really enjoyed it. It's funny. We played it. So me and Shu and a few others played it. And as he was setting up, one of our guys we were playing with says, "Oh, I'm gonna go to the dealer hall and go get it." So he went and got it. And comes back. He's like, "There are 2 left." I'm like, "Well, I'm not gonna go because they're probably gonna be sold out." But he's like, "You want to buy mine?" I'm like, no, it's fine. I don't have any room in my suitcase anyway, so it's fine. So we played it. I'm like, wow, this is a really fucking good game. And then that was like Friday. Saturday goes. Sunday we watched Grant's. We did the trivia, and then at the end of the trivia, I'm back in my hotel room packing. I'm like, so I text the guy, like, "You still want to sell that game?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, totally, I'll do it." I'm like, awesome. So came home, really enjoyed it. I played it twice this week. Also played Caesar's something or other. It's a really
Caesar
quick
salad.
No, it's a really quick game where you're just placing all your little armies. It's an aesthetics game. You know what aesthetics is?
It's a word with 3 syllables.
No, you know that French Asterix and Obelix?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's a game with that IP, but it's all about Caesar's armies and stuff like that. What is it called? It is called board game. Caesar's Empire. Yeah. It was fun. It was quick, super fun. Hey, Barry.
I know what it is. Caesar's Legion.
Caesar's Empire.
Empire. Oh, yeah, Empire. Sorry.
Yeah, it was good.
Wrong again.
Oh, God. Give us a chance. I've just woken up. And I'm all cross-wired.
It's early for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 5, well, nearly 6. Someone needed a pee at 3 o'clock in the morning and then wanted a drink.
Was
and
it
was
you?
like, oh. No. Normally it's me, but this morning it wasn't. It was a little one.
So it was you.
No.
Fuzzy.
How you guys doing? Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Caesar's Empire. Holy Grail games.
Is it?
Yeah. I got it
Yeah,
on
I
my shelf.
enjoyed it. It was good.
Very, very light, but it's a
Yeah. It was perfect for the end of the night. Like I was about to leave, so they're like, "Well, I'll play a quick little game." I said, "Sure."
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's doing them very well because of the license, they can actually just sell it. Well, they don't. Well, they sell it at the theme park asterisks as well here.
Oh my god, it's so funny. Like the IP branding of the game.
Mhm.
You look at the whole game, and it's just this little thing graphic about this big of the two of them on the board. That's it.
Yeah, it's all about the Romans conquering Europe.
Yeah, I mean they're just kind of like they're on the battlefield and they're kind of like looking over all the battlefield, and that's the whole IP painting of the game. It's like this could be anything.
Yeah. But when I played the prototype about 5 years ago, it was just like a normal kind of generic kind of Euro game. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then they got the license, and it's like one of the best Asterix board games out there, which is a shame because there should be a lot more. And well, I've got a lot anyway.
It sounds like two people, other French artists. That's cool.
Yeah. And
French designer too. So that's cool.
Yeah, Asterix is still going, even though the creators have passed away. So
we have there's a in Gatineau, in Quebec, where my uncle lives. We used to go to his place, and he had a pool, so all the family would go there and have like pool parties and stuff like that. But on the way home, or even if we have barbecue, I'd go with my dad, and we'd go get all these French fries from this place called Bob Patat, and on the walls of the building on the outside was Asterix and Obelix, but they're carrying big things of French fries, all painted on the side of the boat. So that's what I remember from my childhood about that.
Sweet. Yeah. Dear me.
Good stuff.
It is good stuff. Lance is feeling left out.
No, that's fine.
Should we talk about baseball then? Or should we talk about the Vikings?
What's that? Oh yeah, I'll be right there.
Go Vikings, let's win this game.
Yeah, Berkey was telling me that you had a bit of a celebration at BGG with the Vikings. They were playing, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean it was good stuff, but I mean whatever. I mean we lost. That's fine.
Oh, you lost. Oh.
We lost last week. Yeah, we got our butts handed to us. But that's what we play tomorrow night. So Thanksgiving evening game. So it'll be nice. It'll be fun. We can give it a try. See what happens. I don't know. Whatever.
We're working on the Divinity Original Sin board game, and I was talking to my client today, and he has a meeting with the head of studio tomorrow to go over a lot of the lore and story and everything. And he's from Belgium, the head of studio, and Belgium was playing Canada today at the World Cup. And he's like, I sure hope he's like, no offense, but I sure hope Canada loses. So he's in a good mood tomorrow when I talk to him. Because they couldn't meet tonight because he was watching the game.
But do you give a shit?
I really couldn't give less of a shit.
That's the thing I was going to ask. You know, what's the coverage like over there for the FIFA World Cup?
For those who enjoy it, I'm sure pretty good, but I'm a non-sports person. So you're asking, I mean, it's not like I even watch television or keep track of any of that stuff. So I'm not even on the periphery of like, I've seen stuff, but
yeah. I don't watch it either, but it's like you switch on the news and it's like the headline is, oh, there's a game playing. Oh, and so played so-and-so.
Oh yeah.
Sake.
I don't watch live television.
Oh dear. You like dead television?
Actually, yes. No, out of run shows mostly, yeah. I used to talk to a guy. He's like, I don't watch anything that was made after 1960.
Wow.
maybe not 60. I was like 60 something. So he's like, you know, all the old stuff. He got me turned on to old radio, like Jack Benny and stuff like that. Really good stuff.
Interesting.
Interesting.
must have-
Yes, very interesting. Stroke my
Very
beard.
interesting indeed.
Yes. I want to get out of a chartered accountancy. Become a lion tamer.
How wonderfully Monty Python.
It is Monty Python.
It is absolutely. I knew exactly what you're talking about.
What is it?
It's just it's a whole weird sketch.
The Flying Circus?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never watched Flying Circus.
Oh, it's after 1960. It's 1969.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I watched shows after 1960.
Wow.
I
This
remember,
guy
I remember
did.
making my daughter watch Faulty Towers with me because I was like, look, there's only like 7 episodes total or whatever it was, you know, because it barely lasted. But I said, this is going to be some of the funniest television you'll ever watch in your life.
And was she deadpan the whole time?
No, she thought it was
We
when
we
she was
watch it
when she
every
was at
year.
BGG Con, she went over and she bought a Holy Grail T-shirt from the T-shirt vendor. You know?
Did she really?
Yeah,
Good for her.
yeah.
It's an every year thing for us. It's like on the DVD they have like the little menu screen and it plays little snippets and little quotes, and so we're always quoting them. And even the 5-year-old is like, unos dos tres. It's like, oh, it's so funny. There's too much butter on those trays. No. Monsieur Footy, it's not unos dos tres. It's unos dos tres. So, yeah. Sorry, he's from Barcelona.
And my favorite episode of Faulty Towers is when and it's the classic plot of he feels the hotel inspector
Oh yeah.
is the one guy, but it isn't, and the guy who's just completely rude and horrible to him the entire time.
It's a fussy
Faulty-
customer.
Yeah, just puts up with his BS and puts up with his BS and puts up with his BS, and then when he checks out, and then Faulty puts up with it, and he goes, and then Manuel runs out. Oh no, my son, Senor, Mr. Faulty would like to speak to you. Like he runs over. It's him with
Yes.
a pie in the face, pie in the crotch, and then as he's spinning around, they take his luggage and they open it up and they pour that whole thing of milk inside of this thing and close it and shake it up, hand it back to him and shove him out the door. Just so good.
It is. He-
Yeah.
He's not a tolerant person, Basil.
No.
Everyone is beneath him unless they're richer than him, and then it's like he kisses ass. So yeah, he put up with this awkward customer, and then finally finds out that he's a spoon salesman and not a hotel inspector to give him a good rating. And just as he kicks him out the door, the hotel inspector comes in.
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't he say something like, it's like, and now how can I help you? 3, 5. Oh no!
Yeah. Yeah. 'Cause the line is that the hotel, there's 3 hotel inspectors in the area.
Yeah.
And the
How
fact
can I
that
help you? 3 fine gentlemen. Yeah, he just starts
Yeah.
screaming.
And the funny thing about it is he puts all of his other clients aside just for this one person he thinks is the hotel inspector. So he moves tables around. He's like, no, you can't sit there. This is so and so's table. You must sit here. I mean,
And the rat episode.
No, hamster. It's a
Hamster.
hamster, Mr. Footy.
Yeah. And the Germans episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's go on. It's like it had one of my favorite line for the rat episode. He goes, yes. Let's all find the rat first, and then we'll deal with the sackings later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Speaking of rats, I came home the other night and I came in the back mudroom to the kitchen, and I just about gagged. There was some horrible smell. I'm like, oh my god, it smells like this. I thought it was the P trap on the sink in the kitchen that was faulty or something. I'm like, what is that? And then I went downstairs to see if there was some leaking, and there was some water leaking. I'm like, okay. And the water was clean though. I'm like, okay, that's weird. Turns out we have a dead critter in the wall in the kitchen. Yeah. Not
That's
the
not
most
good.
pleasant smell in the world.
No.
So what are you gonna do?
Wait until it stops smelling and decomposes. Nothing else we can do. I'm not gonna bust my wall open to find it.
Yeah.
Just hang a bunch of
We've got the plugins going.
I was gonna say get some of those car ornaments or whatever, like a bunch of trees, just like in Seven. Remember, he just fills the
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. Air
fills the room
fresheners.
with those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had
All right, I'm gonna go. It's late. I'm gonna go to bed.
Fine, you go. Enjoy your not Thanksgiving.
Oh right. That's why there's nobody here.
I'm here.
You've got a commitment. And you're a
Yeah.
committed person.
I sure am.
No. Tomorrow we're having tortilla for dinner. We're not having turkey.
I don't know what that means. But I'll
Meat
believe it.
pie,
Oh, gotcha.
French meat pie.
Yeah.
Anyways,
What? So it's ox tongue.
Quit bragging about your weird Canadian food.
all right. Good night.
Good night,
See you
buddy.
later. Take care.
You too.
What's new with you, Barry?
What's new with me? Not much. Not much. The computer's new. New hard drive. Poor thing.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been filled up with
Oh,
sound effects and music.
I finally got an SD card for my phone. I've had it for I've had my phone's like 5 years old, and I've never had an SD card for it. And I got sick and tired of it telling me, because I mean basically every picture I've ever taken with my phone is on my phone. And I got sick and tired of it. It would tell me these things where it's like, oh, you're running out of space. And so then I'd go and I'd find like, things where I'd hit the button wrong and like I took a screenshot. So I'd go through my gallery and find all these like pictures that I didn't want to take in the first place and delete them, right? And I know I've uploaded them to the cloud and all that other stuff, but I'm always worried about deleting them, like it'll be gone forever kind of thing. But I finally bought an SD card and then put it in and then transferred all the pictures. So I like freed up like, 30 gigs of space on my phone, which I thought was cool.
You don't back it up on your PC then?
Oh, I do that too.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm still, even though I backed up on the TV, I was like, I better not. I'm weird. I'm that guy that has the drawer full of cords,
Yeah.
I might need this cord.
Yeah. I did the
Yeah,
same. I used to back everything up on the computer and then copy everything from the computer onto CD.
Yeah. And it's just like one of those things where it's like I couldn't let myself. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, those people that say things like, oh yeah, if you move and you don't open a box after you move for like a year, just throw it away because you obviously don't need anything that's in it. I'm like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You open it up and you go through it and you make sure, and you no, you don't just throw it away.
It's a nice logic. It's a nice logic to keep your life clean. And then you haven't got to keep buying shelving or storage because I mean there is so much shit that I've got which I should get rid of. I mean, I've got my PA system here underneath this table, and I'm not going to gig again. I don't see myself gigging.
Yeah.
I've got my 4-track down here, but I need to keep that because I've got all my cassettes, which I did when I was like in my teens, all my recordings, all my music, and also kind of like radio skits we used to do with my friends. We used to grab a microphone each and then just ad lib and pretend we were on the ship of the Enterprise. And then afterwards, I would use the fourth track to dub the Enterprise sound effects and shit like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, very influenced by 40 Towers back then as well. So it was like we would just improvise and do crazy shit, talk about crazy shit, and then add the sound effects on top, and it was just like, wow, it was that added element, and the canned laughter as well.
Ah.
made you sound more funny than you actually were. So geez,
I desperately need to get a new computer, but I don't. I'm always like I'll start doing research for it, and I'll start like looking into it and stuff like that, and then I will be like, okay, this is what I want to do, and then I'm like, do I really want to spend that money? Oh, I don't know. My computer will still run for a little while anyway, so
yeah.
let's hold off.
I mean, one of the things I've heard, because I've been researching, excuse me, my nose is a bit blocked. I've been researching studios, and they normally have two computers. So like there's one which is running, which is the main one, and then the second one is like it's tapping off of, so to speak. So you might want to get just a second computer, which is a bit more powerful, has a bit more memory, but you've still got then everything on your first computer, which is linked into your second computer.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like I want to do it, but I'm also just kind of like, just
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's not important.
I'm wishy-washy about it. It's just like the it's like the phone, man. I mean, it's like all the backup stuff there. I mean, I'm just like, well, I should, but why would I do that? And yeah, I don't know. I'm weird. I'll just use the computer till it breaks down entirely or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's other things to depend your money on. Is depends an English word? Dépense, that's Français.
That sounds French to me. Is what that sounds.
Yeah. So how you been keeping?
I don't know, man. Just busy, tired, family, work, life. I mean, I was feeling pretty grumpy today. I mean, I don't know, just Thanksgiving is supposed to be like, oh, hey, I'm just like, it's always just like, oh God, it's just gonna be so much stuff to do. And I'm like, I just wanna like, I mean, I gotta go to the in-laws and do the do the thing, right? But it's just like one of those things where it's like, which will be fine. It'll be fine seeing everybody and everything like that. But I'm just gonna be like, I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to just get out of here. Just like, and there's always that, like, it's like when you were a kid, right? When you were like, and it's just like, just can we just go? And everybody's gotta have that one more cup of coffee, and everybody's gotta talk, and everybody's gotta. And you're just like, what is the point of this conversation? I mean, actually, the nice thing is that, I mean, back in my wife's like the same way, like she's just like, yeah, let's just get out of here kind of thing. And then, but we are absolutely, back in the day, it was like one of those things where it was like, it's time for, one of our kids was young enough, time for their nap. So we got to go,
Yeah.
No, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. Yeah, no, you just be like, it was the perfect excuse to, just to get up. And now they're both a little bit older, and they're able to, just sit there and on their phones and tune everybody else out. And you're just like, come on, be cranky, just be annoyed, do something.
Yeah.
Give us the perfect excuse to get out of here, kind of thing.
There's something about your family then. You must find them kind of dull. I mean, I can say the same.
It's just like I think I just have a certain level what I can put up with, right? And it's just like, I'm fine hanging out with family, and I'm fine being there and everything like that. But I mean, at a certain point, I'm like, yeah, we're done. Just like, it's like, because there's just nothing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just our family, my wife, myself, and our 2 kids, we are very much like the 4 of us together work perfectly. Everybody's just kind of like, when everybody just understands, like everybody understands, like when you're watching TV or you're doing whatever, you're doing it with, and everybody's just kind of, everybody's on the same page. Everybody's like, yeah, we butt heads every once in a while, but for the most part, everybody just kind of knows their role, stays in their own lane, just, let's, and figure stuff out and stuff like that. And it's just, and once we go out of there, I don't know, we're not really big social butterfly people. It's just, that's why. And my in-laws and everybody's cool, everybody's fun, but I mean, it's just like, I don't know, it's just one of those things where it's like the big family Thanksgiving dinner thing just isn't a thing, right? I'm looking forward to the food, have a little, eat a little turkey, have some mac and cheese. That'll be nice, But I'm also like, yeah, it'll be nice to just get home and turn on the old football games and try to just enjoy life, and yeah. So
Yeah. I can relate. My family, my in-laws, my wife is very close with her parents. She can spend hours upon hours upon hours just talking and talking and talking to them. And even when we say, right, we're going now, as we're putting our coats on, she'll find this little subject, it might be like the color of the stones on the courtyard. And then another conversation will pursue, and we'll be there another 10 minutes. And so like me and the kids, we have this joke of like, we're still going to be here in another hour. And but my wife now understands that we try to keep things moving. It's like when we say we're going to go, we're going to go. And we have those kind of like Thanksgiving dinners many times during the year. Excuse me, nose.
Yeah, you're
good. So yeah, for birthdays or special occasions or whatever, a Sunday will be a family lunch all around the table, and they are the most, for me, a non-perfect speaking French person, they are so dull and boring. My daughter finds them so dull and boring because we're there from like midday till 8 o'clock at night, eating, drinking, talking. That's all we're doing at the table. And this happens like about 6 or 7 times during the course of a year, as I said, for birthday parties or special little celebrations, or just when my father-in-law wants to have the family around. But the only thing which tides me over is getting drunk, because then I can just talk bullshit in French, which sometimes ends up in an argument, but hey ho, what can you do? But yeah,
you like showing off, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah. But yeah, if there's no alcohol there, it's not a fun time. Me and the mother.
I don't know. I'm weird. I just kind of get like I said, it's just like, I also feel like there's all this stuff I could be doing at home, and like stuff that either A would be more fun, or B, like just I haven't gotten done or want to take care of, or so it's just kind of like it's just I so probably just a horrible person, and I need to be a better human or something.
Yeah, I mean, to try and break it up myself, I've taken a few games and try to play games with people to make it a more social event, because it is a social occasion. But, you know, having a few games to play, you know, a bit of Time's Up, or, you know, what is it called in English? Clucking pairs or something like that. Just to have a you know, 30 minutes of laughter and piss taking and something else to talk about. That always seems to, you know, kind of like recharge the batteries a bit, so to speak, at these kind of events.
Yeah, maybe it does. I don't know. Yeah.
You don't know. I mean,
yeah, it's, you know, I mean, when I was younger, I had more ability to.
You had more of Alaboom.
But now it's just older, and you're just kind of like, I don't really have time for this. Which is just, you know, I mean, I think that's just a matter of, you know, life. I think in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
You know, I did mention, and my wife and I were talking about this the other day, and I said that I feel like, you know, like when I had somebody that wanted to, you know, I had somebody who reached out to me, and they're like, oh, hey, you know, what's going on? I hadn't talked to them in a long time, you know, and they wanted to ask me some question about whatever, and I was like, and they texted me, and I was like, oh yeah, everything's fine. And they're like, oh, hey, you said you're going to do that one thing that other day. How'd that go? Yeah, it went fine. Thanks. And then like another text where they're just like, oh, by the way, blah, blah, blah. Ain't that the best? I'm like, who am I goddamn talking to right now? I mean, this is just like, I'm trying to work, and I'm getting like 27 texts from this person. It's like, what, are you bored? Give me a call. Talk to me on the phone. I mean, and then my wife's like, why are you so grouchy about it? I was like, because it's just, I don't know. It was just ridiculous. That's why I realized I was just getting grumpy.
you were in the zone. You were working. I'm like that as well. It's like someone could say there's a board game taking place next door, and if I'm working and I'm in the zone and I'm creating, I'll say, fuck off. You know, I need to get this done, or you know, I'm arriving at the apex of this piece of music.
Well, then it's just like, I'm not one for like small talk about nothing. That's just not my thing. And it's just, and I don't like just sitting there talking about nothing for several minutes. I want to just, if somebody wants to ask me about whatever, you know, hey, what do you think about this, that, and the other thing? I mean, I'm just of the mentality of like, you know, just, I don't need to have that really, really top level superficial conversation about next to nothing. I don't want to do that. I don't want to, you know, I mean, you know, if you're over at my house and we're playing D&D and we want to talk about the latest game or whatever that we did or whatever, cool, great, awesome. I'll talk to you about that all day long. Good, but no, I'm not. During the middle of the day, I don't want to sit there and
talk about the color of gravel and
I don't want to have this like hey, what's going on? What's working hard or hardly working?
Yeah, like, that's a lot of family conversations like that. It's just total crap about, you know, oh, and Mrs. Miggins over the road, oh, she painted her nails green the other day, and it's like, yeah, that's really interesting. And yet my wife will just go into a 10-minute rant about nails or something. It's like, yeah, obviously that's something that interests her, and board games is something that interests us. And I was going to say, you know, you probably at BGG didn't want to leave. You didn't think about your house and your work that you got to do at home. You were probably there thinking, oh, you know, I want to play another game. Oh, I want to carry on talking to so-and-so, you know. I mean, because that's how I feel at conventions. It's like, I don't want them to end. You know, I could work another day or 2 days or 3 days, but I just want to keep this, you know, this feeling going. And I want to go and see that person and spend a good half hour chatting to them and finding out how they're getting on and what they're working on. And, you know.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I get weird questions about things where it's like,
oh, who shaves your beard for you?
Well, no, I mean, no, like if I get questions where it's just like, it's like, it's just something about, whatever. Oh, did you know that so and so, I don't even know who you're talking,
Mm.
and then they're like, oh, well, didn't you know that so? No, and I don't really care.
No.
I'm probably a horrible person for not caring. I don't
I
know.
prefer talking to my daughter because we just go into these long conversations because she's just discovered Game of Thrones and she's just watched it all, and it's like, we have these conversations about, oh, did this happen, and oh, who was that character there, and then we go into the depths behind it of like how this scene was made or who the actor was, and did you know that was taken from another book, that was taken, Sam was taken from Lord of the Rings, and so we go into this trivia stuff, and we just spend hours just talking, just amongst ourselves, me and my daughter, while everyone else is around the table talking about Mrs. Miggins' fingernails. And who's my father-in-law is like a gossip. He's, you talk about women being the gossip and talking about everybody in the street. It's my father-in-law. He knows everyone. He knows everything that's going on. He knows what's happening with, in their house behind closed doors, and it's just like a whole monologue of other people's lives.
Yeah, and I just end up saying, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah. You try and teach him a board game and he hasn't got a fucking clue though. The only thing he's good at is timeline. The card game where you got to put the cards out in the right time. And when it's like objects and events, he's fucking excellent at that. He's got amazing memory for people's deaths and when stuff happened. So like, yeah, he'll play that, but anything else,
no
game
idea.
over. No idea. Not even like Time's Up, which is just party game with words. He's useless.
Just
yeah. He's got a word and he's got to try and describe it, and he can't.
Well, at least he tries, probably, right? So I mean, there's lots of people that just won't play those games because they think, oh, I'm not going to be good at it, so I'm not going to play.
Yeah.
But
that's the funny thing. When he steps on the sideline, he's a great like armchair quarterback. He's like, oh, why don't you say that?
Oh, what you should have said was such and such.
Yeah. So yeah, he's great at that, butting in, and when he's not even playing, but when he's playing, he's like no good. He just doesn't want to play. And then don't give us advice from behind.
Well, I mean, yeah.
So what are you working on? Or are you gonna go?
Right now, I'm overloaded. We got a Kickstarter going on, but also, I mean, I'm just overloaded with customer service emails right now. Just garbage, just like trying to make sure, because there's a lot of, since everybody's got their stuff shipped, or most people have got their stuff shipped now we're running into like, oh, this one I didn't get enough meeples, or this one didn't have this, or so there's a lot of
Missing parts.
digging for that stuff, right? We're like trying to
get
all that stuff corrected, and okay, you didn't do, like, this was broken, so let me go ahead and get that for you, that kind of thing. So, which is, it's annoying, but whatever, what are you gonna do? So
it needs to be done.
Does need to get done.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know, man. Hey, I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. I had a fun time talking by myself for like an hour to anybody who asked a question. That was cool. Actually, I really enjoyed it. They asked me a lot of weird questions, and I tried to answer them as best as I could. So,
yeah,
and that was fun. But yeah.
Now I'm here.
Now I'm here.
Now I'm
Well,
here.
I was gonna say, I mean, I think I'm gonna close up shop. I got to get up early tomorrow and go and meet up with the fam in the morning, and then I got a whole long day of stuff to do tomorrow. I think we'll be, I think my wife and I are going to start laying down our new flooring in the basement. So that'll be fun.
Ooh. Big job.
You know, if our marriage survives, it'll be a miracle, you know. So I mean, that's, you know, whatever. No. The vinyl plank flooring we picked out, I think, is going to be a lot easier than the laminate that we had the last time. So I think
Yeah.
that this will be fine. Well, it'll be better at least. So we'll get through it like we always do. We always get through it.
Oh, the stories I could tell about laying floor.
But yeah, cool. Next week, standard stuff. We'll be back in force, I'm sure. Those other jerks will. But I don't know. Everybody just if you celebrate Thanksgiving, have a good Thanksgiving. And actually, Barry, hang out for a little bit after I disconnect. Just I don't know, spend a lot of time with your loved ones and have a good time.